Okay, we've all heard it. Is the glass half empty or is it half full? Most people think it's just about optimism, a personality trait, a cute way to describe somebody. But what if I told you this simple lens, the way that you interpret what happens around you, is one of the most powerful drivers of your mental health? Because it's not the event that determines how you feel, it's the meaning that you assign to it. Two people can go through the same situation. Let's say coming across a rude person and come out with two completely different outcomes and mindsets. The first person's gonna be able to look at that person in a negative lens and be frustrated and angry and hold grudges against that person and still be upset minutes, even hours after the event. The next person is gonna be able to look at people have hard days. That's okay. It didn't do anything to really me and I'm just gonna let it go, and they're not impacted by the experience. So what caused the person to be angry? Was it the situation itself? Not necessarily, because the other person came out feeling okay. It has to be the way that two individuals are interpreting the situation. The way you train your mind to look at life, half empty or half full, doesn't just change your attitude, it affects your life. We've already talked about how your thoughts create your feelings in previous episodes, but the way that you interpret the situation, whether positively or negative, impacts your thoughts, which then impacts your feelings. Now, there's a lot of stuff that happens that we can't control. We talked about this in previous episodes as well. You can't control the situation or the people that are around you, but with all these people and all these situations are positives and negatives. We can't control that they're there, but we sure can control what we choose to focus on. If we put on what I call crap goggles and start looking at all the stuff that's crappy out there, that's all we're gonna take in and that's all we're gonna feel. It creates a world of black and white instead of color, where people are angry, irritable, depressed, they're holding grudges, they're resentful. It's not good at all. If we can choose to be able to look at the situations, to look at the positives instead of the negatives, it's a completely different impact on how we feel. In all these situations, there might be 30 negatives and at least one or two positives. It doesn't matter the discrepancy. If we can hold on to and identify those one or two positives, we're all right, because that's the name of the game of life. Look how profound this is. Think of a parent you had growing up. Doesn't matter if they're dead or alive, but think about him or her. Now put on negative lenses and think to yourself about what he or she did that you didn't like, that hurt you, that upset you, that bothered you. Notice how you feel. Now switch your lenses and think about this individual and what you like, love, admire, or appreciate about him or her. Completely different impact. The beauty here is life and people don't control how we feel. We do. And one of the ways that we can really step up on our mental health is defining the positive of the person, of the situation. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's really hard to find that, but we have to challenge ourselves to find what that positive is so that we stop all these looping thoughts and be able to get a hold of, okay, what's the positive to that person or to that situation? When your kids start to pick up a habit of negativity, it has a huge impact on their life, not just how they feel, but we can trace low self-esteem back to a simple habit they picked up when they were younger. They got negative. So if you've got a kid who's sitting there, usually you start seeing this in middle school, high school, where it's like, oh, I hate this kid, I hate this teacher, that's lame, I don't like that. You're starting to get that on the regular basis. That's a red flag. Your kid is starting to interpret things negatively, and it's a habit that we need to start shutting down. And the way you can do this as a parent is simply by saying, hey, whoa. What's the positive here? What's the positive about that kid? I'm not letting you go do whatever you want to go do until you give me one positive. If your kid's not accustomed to this, they're gonna say, there's nothing positive. I hate that kid. Now it's your life teaching lesson time, right? Hey, there's positives and negatives. We can't control that. Whatever we choose to focus on impacts how we feel. What's one positive about that kid? Fine, he's funny. You're like, okay, thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day. What you just did for your kid in that moment was that same shift, small but profound, that you experienced switching when you were thinking, toggling back and forth about positives and negatives with your parent that you were thinking of. Helping your kids to understand that life and people don't control how they feel, but they do, and one of the best ways to get ahead is to challenge them to find the positive in the situations and the people will have a huge impact on their life, make their life easier, make their mental health better. And it's a huge gift to give to your kids. Make sure you check out the podcast in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment. And lastly, I want to thank you because being a parent is hard. There's no manual and we all make mistakes and it can often be a thankless job. But the sacrifices that you have made and will continue to make for your kids will provide them with the structural support that they'll need to get through some of the most challenging and darkest times that they'll ever have. Many won't recognize this until they're older, but they do circle back to you with love and gratitude, along with appreciation and the recognition that they couldn't be who they are nor where they are in their life without you and everything that you sacrificed, fought them on, and challenged them on in order to get them ready for life. So thank you for all that you do. Thank you for your time today.